everybody. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to say my old name. I'm so glad that you guys are here with me today. I am here with Naiara of Crypto Coven, and we're going to be diving into crypto fundamentals and just speaking about generally what crypto is and how to start off, especially for beginners. This should be a treat because if you've always wanted to get in on the crypto game, then today's your show. This is the interview that you really want to listen to. So Naiara, thank you so much for joining me here. And I'll just leave it to you to introduce yourself, what you do, and why you're doing it too.
Mhm. Thank you, Karleen. So my name is Naiara, and I created the Crypto Coven. And I was talking to Karleen a little bit about this. In crypto, most people are men, and there are not a lot of women. So I wanted to create a project focused on women, and that's what the Crypto Coven is. And also, I am using the term coven because back in the day, witches were women who wanted to unite, get together to help each other, look for knowledge, empowerment, power, wisdom. So this is what the Crypto Coven is about. I want women to come together and empower each other, learn from each other, support each other, because that's in my opinion, that's the way to do it. We don't need to compete against each other. We can do things together and help each other grow and find financial freedom. That's the goal.
How long have you been in crypto? Like, how long have you been doing this?
Mhm. I don't, people ask me that, and I don't remember when I started. It was it was more than a decade ago. It's been many years. So it was a long time ago. When I got into crypto for the first time, I remember that nobody around me knew about crypto. Like I would talk to people and they were like, "Crypto? What is that?" Like they didn't even know the term. But the first time that I heard about it, it called my attention. And I started learning about it, researching, doing research on my own, and I felt really called to it. I thought that it could be a really good opportunity, yeah, for me.
Awesome. So let's just dive right into it and get going, okay? So what are the basic steps someone new to cryptocurrency should take to start investing? Like what's the first step that someone should do or the basic
Mhm.
steps?
So, in my opinion, the most important thing is knowledge, because the thing is, crypto is a tool. Like we have many tools in this life to empower ourselves to do many different things. They're all tools. In my opinion, they're neutral. They're not good. They're not bad. They're neutral. They're tools. We use them for good, for bad. We can choose, right?
Mhm.
So the thing with crypto is that we have these tools available to us, and but what happens when we use tools but we don't know how to use them? Sometimes people misuse them. Sometimes people do things that maybe they don't really know what they're doing with them, and they can make mistakes. So for me, the most important thing is knowledge. We need to know how it works. We need to know how to use it. So what I would suggest to everybody is learn. Before you do anything, learn what it is, how it works, and how you can take the steps that you need to take, but in a safe way. Like I'm not the I know a lot of people in crypto, they take a lot of risks. They're very risky investors. I'm not. I'm actually on the other side. Like I'm a safer kind of investor. Even though I'm in crypto and people consider crypto more risky, I'm a safer investor. So I want to make sure that I don't take risks that are not unnecessary. So having a really good risk management is really important in crypto, and making sure that you know how it works so that you're not a scam, because a lot of people have been scamming people. And so that's the most important thing. Like make sure that you learn how it works, make sure that you're not gonna get a scam, and that you are safe, like that you're secure, you use the right tools at the same time.
I forgot to ask, what was your day job? Like, what did you do before? And now you're living in Mexico, right? And
Yeah.
but
So yeah, before I came to Mexico, I was in the United States, and I was teaching at the university. I was getting my PhD. So I was teaching Spanish, literature, translation. I'm a translator, interpreter as well, and Spanish teacher. And I know it's very different than crypto, but that's also something that I want people to know, because I'm a literature person. I'm a interpreter. I do languages, translation, and I still do those jobs sometimes because I actually love translating, interpreting, teaching. Teaching is my passion. Like when I was a kid, I didn't want to be a teacher. That was the one thing that I knew I never wanted to do. And then I ended up being a teacher, and I'm very passionate about teaching people. I love it. So it's funny how it happened because when I was living here in Mexico, I was out with one for Day of the Dead. Actually, we were out on the street with the parade, and one of my friends told me, "Hey, like you're a teacher, you are a crypto expert, crypto trader. Why don't you create classes so that we can learn?" So that's how I created my classes because my friends asked me to create classes to teach them, and that's how I started doing this.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. That's so amazing. And I'm so glad you are.
And
So
thank you.
let's go to the basics. What is the blockchain technology in simple
Mhm.
lingo? Because a lot of
Yeah.
people are like, and I mean, they use blockchain for almost, I'll let you explain. Sorry.
Okay, I see. So cryptocurrencies use the blockchain technology, and we can think about it as imagine a notebook where all the transactions are recorded. So basically, what we do is whenever we have a block of transactions, we create a block with the new transactions. Whenever that block is filled, we create a new block, and then we have all the new transactions there. It's filled, okay, we create another block. So those blocks are connected in a network, and that's why it's called the blockchain technology, because there's a chain of blocks where the transactions are stored. And the really good thing about cryptocurrency, one of the best things about this technology is that it's decentralized. That means that the blockchain is not in a centralized place where one institution, government person has all the control. It's like all over the planet, like people with their computers, they secure the network. And the transactions cannot be erased, they cannot be manipulated. It's transparent because if I want, I can go to the network, to the chain, and look at the transactions. So that's what is amazing about this technology. It cannot be modified, it cannot be manipulated, and it's transparent. Like we can all go and see what's happening in the network, and we can all help. If we want, we could with computers, we could help secure the network. The more people that secure the network and help create the blocks and like make them safe, the bigger the network gets and the safer it gets.
Awesome. So, but doesn't that take up a lot of space eventually? You know, like where do we store all that? And what about the energy use to
Mhm. Yeah, so a lot of people have
record
talked.
every single transaction?
Uh, a lot of people have been talking about this, and there's a lot of, in my opinion, propaganda that has been going on around this. And but there's something very important. For example, with Bitcoin, a lot of people have criticized Bitcoin because they say that it consumes a lot of energy. There's several things that I would like to say. One of them is that crypto, for example, Bitcoin, requires less energy than, for example, video games. What is more important? That people can play video games. I have nothing against video games. I like them myself. I play video games with my brother. I love it. It's fun. But what is more important? That people can play video games or that we have a financial system that is secure, safe, that is not able to be that we cannot manipulate, that gives us financial freedom. First of all, it requires less energy than a lot of things that we do that, in my opinion, are, if we put them in a list of priorities, they're below in the list because having a safe net where we can be financially free, for me, that's a priority. We need financial freedom. And second, like because of the crypto miners, the people who are keeping constructing, building the network in Bitcoin, for them it's better if they have to spend a lot of money and energy to secure the network. It's very expensive for them. They have to pay huge electric bills. They don't want to do that. So what have they been doing? They have been investing a big amount of money on renewable energy, like like more than half of the energy that people use, like miners use to mine Bitcoin, is renewable. Not only that, but there's advancements that they have been investing in coming up with new technologies that now we can use renewable energy in a way that we couldn't use before. Now it's more like modern and better technology that has been created because of the miners, because it's on their best interest to use renewable energy so that it is cheap for them. First of all, it's a win-win for everybody. Like, it's cheaper for them. They don't have to pay the big electric bills. They can use energy from, in El Salvador, for example, they're using a volcano to mine Bitcoin. The heat from the volcano, they're using that heat to use the computers to secure the network. In other places, they're using other energies, like the energy of the water, the energy of wind, the solar energy. They're using those technologies to mine Bitcoin. So this is amazing because now we have improvements that we wouldn't have if these miners wouldn't have been like investing and researching about how to improve all of this so that they can do this for cheaper, right? And so it's a win-win situation. Like, they're doing amazing things when it comes to the environment. They're being so creative, and I love this about the crypto community. People can be really creative in the community, and they're doing really beautiful things. Yeah. Oh, I cannot hear you.
Sorry, we discussed this community and how it tends to. I kept the volume off because every time something moves on my end, the camera shifts and
Oh,
I
okay,
love
okay.
that. So, but yeah, we discussed this community and how it tends to be like a male dominated, like a bro community. So I'm really, really happy that you're starting and launching and creating the safe space for women. Absolutely. But you brought up Bitcoin a couple of times. And so what's the difference, between Bitcoin, Ethereum, like all these coins, and how do they work? Like, how do the coins actually work?
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example, they're the most common ones, the more known ones. Think about Bitcoin as a currency. Bitcoin was created so that people could exchange it and eventually pay for things. Ethereum is different. First of all, Ethereum is not the coin. The coin is ETH. So Ethereum is the network. It's a network designed more like a super computer or a super network where people are building apps on top of it. So it's very different than Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin is supposed to be a currency, but Ethereum, people are building their apps on top of the network. And then ETH is the coin that people use to pay for transactions and to do different transactions. So there are hundreds and hundreds of projects in the crypto space, and they're creating beautiful projects, like so many, like related to so many different topics, like some of them connected to AI, for example. Some projects are connected to storage, like digital storage on the cloud. Some projects are like, well, also we have like NFTs where people can create art and then sell it on the crypto market space. It has so many different applications in real life. Also, we have real world assets where people are tokenizing assets. Like, for example, an apartment. You can tokenize an apartment, which means you take an apartment and you're like, okay, so I'm going to have on the blockchain something that represents that apartment. Now, if someone in Japan, for example, wants to buy a piece of that apartment that is in Mexico, they can pay with cryptocurrency to buy the token, that tokenized asset, and they own a piece of that apartment that they bought online through the blockchain, paying with crypto. So people are tokenizing all kinds of things nowadays.
So what's the difference between a coin and a token?
So a coin is a currency, like we use it to pay for transactions, to pay for whatever we want to buy. But a everything, like a coin is a token. Like, we can use tokens for many different things. Some of them can be to pay for things, but we can also have like crypto projects. For example, sometimes they create tokens so that people who have tokens, they can vote on the projects. So if they're gonna make a decision, they're like, okay, whoever has tokens, they can vote and they can decide, okay, we're going to keep going in this direction, or we're going to do something different. Some tokens have a different mission, and they're about security. Like, there's a lot of different options when it comes to tokens, but one of the uses is currency. Like, they can be a currency so that we use them for transactions to pay.
Ah, okay. And so what are NFTs now? Because you brought,
So
I was going to ask you
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So NFTs currency, for example, like Bitcoin, it's a non-fungible token.
Mhm.
That means that if I have one Bitcoin and you have one Bitcoin, I give you mine, you give me yours, and it's the same. It's the same Bitcoin. We don't have anything different. You have one, I have one, we have the same. And it happens the same, for example, with the US dollar, with the euro, with the peso. I have one, you have one, we exchange it, and it's the same. It's the same coin.
Mhm.
However, NFTs are the opposite. So they're non-fungible tokens. So Bitcoin is fungible. NFTs are non-fungible. That means that when I create a piece of art, for example, there's one, and that's unique. Like if I exchange it for another piece of art, mine is unique, yours is unique, and now when I get yours, I have something that is unique that you don't have anymore. So it's very unique. So when we use the NFT technology, then that means that whatever we're creating is unique and nobody can replicate it and nobody can have that because it's very unique. It's not fungible.
Wow. Okay. There must be so many applications for that that I can't even
Yes. Some people
besides selling art.
selling art, but some singers have been using to sell their songs, some famous singers. For example, and I always say this, imagine, for example, Madonna suddenly decides like, okay, I'm gonna release an NFT, one of my songs. I'm not gonna release the song anywhere else. It's only gonna be released as an NFT. And you can actually choose, I'm gonna release one copy, or she could say, I'm gonna release five copies of this, but there's not gonna be more, just these five.
Mhm.
How many people would pay so much money to own those NFTs because if they're true fans, some people are gonna pay ridiculous amount of money to have that because otherwise they're never gonna be able to hear that song that Madonna recorded. There's only five in the world. So for artists, it can be very interesting to use this technology.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. And what's the mining? Like how are new coins created? Because it's so different from conventional, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are different ways of creating coins. For example, with Bitcoin, it's they use a system called proof of work.
Mhm.
And what they do is the miners, they use their computers to solve mathematical problems, and they're very complex. So basically, all the different miners in the world, or they're all around the world, they use their computers to try to solve the mathematical problems first. Whoever solves that first, they are entitled to mine the next block. That means that the next block of Bitcoin is going to be released, and Bitcoins are going to be released into the market.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like a competition. Everybody's trying to mine the next one because the thing is, whenever a miner wins and solves the problem first, then they're going to get rewarded and they're going to receive Bitcoin in exchange of their work. That means the miners basically they're paid with Bitcoin and then they can do whatever they want with that Bitcoin. They can sell it, they can keep it, but that's how proof of work works. Like
Right.
people in the chain, like they connect to the chain, they mine the next block, and
Mhm.
once the block is mined, the Bitcoins are released, they're into the market, people can use them. However, for example, Ethereum, it's a proof of stake. It's very different. So the way that works is there are what we call validators.
Mhm.
So you can have, in order for this to work, you need to own Ethereum, ETH, the coin. So whoever has more Ethereum, more ETH, the coin, the more coins you have, the more points you get to be a validator of the chain. So there are people all around the world who have ETH, and by accumulating ETH, they have a right to be a validator of the network. And between all of them, they secure the network. So they don't have to mine, they don't have to resolve any problem, mathematical problem. They just have to have ETH, hold
Mhm.
ETH, to have the right to be validators in the chain, in the blockchain,
Oh, wow.
and part of that network and make it grow or like do whatever they need to do.
Okay. I'm not going to ask how that works.
There are different ways of creating coins. It can get a little bit technical, but
And
yeah,
who determines how many coins are created? How is that determined?
well, that that's a little bit more complicated. I will have to, because it's different for every chain. Like
Uh-huh.
it works different for every project. Every project has different tokenomics, and they have a different supply, and the way they release the tokens, when they release them, like all of that is different for every coin. It changes
Oh,
a lot.
okay. Okay. So what are the most common mistakes that beginners make when investing in cryptocurrencies? And what are the most important factors to consider before investing into a cryptocurrency? Because I mean,
Yeah,
there's so many out there now, and
yeah,
how can
yeah,
you gauge which one is worth it?
yeah. Well, there are, when it comes to investors, there are different kinds of investors. Like some people are more conservative, some people are more risky, some people are in the middle, more moderate. So first of all, you need to know what's your profile, your investor profile. Do you want to risk more? Do you want to risk less? Also, it depends on how old you are. Like, for example, if you're young, you may risk more because you're going to have more time to recover if you have losses, for example. But if you're older, people normally tend to take less risks because they have less time to recover from possible losses. So that's one factor that people need to have in mind. Definitely one rule that is like one of the most important ones is first, don't invest anything you are not willing to lose, because it happens in crypto, it happens in the stock market, it happens everywhere. One day we could finally like enter a crisis, an economic crisis, and then everything just dumps, like the stock market, crypto. It could happen, and like unexpectedly. So we need to make sure that we only invest an amount of money that we're not gonna need to survive. Like it has to be money that we're not gonna need immediately. And then it's very important to diversify. Like I always definitely recommend diversifying. Like if you want to be safer, like definitely Bitcoin is the safer coin. So you can put most of your money into Bitcoin. Then you can put like a big chunk in Ethereum because it's the second safest. And you can, if you want to be safer, you could just invest in those two. If you want to risk a little bit more, then you would invest in other coins that are big projects, but still very safe. That they've been here for a few cycles, for many years, and we know that they survive the ups and downs of the market. And some people want to be really risky and invest in the really small coins, small projects that are more new, that they have a lot of potential and they could explode, but then they could also fall like really fast. So this like risk management is very important for sure. And also be careful because so many people have been scamming other people in crypto. It's been very intense scamming.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that we're using the right accounts, right wallets, right links. Don't click any link that anybody is sending you randomly like that, because I'm surprised. So many people, yes, they've lost money because people just send them a link and say like, "Hey, send me this money. Send me whatever, however much money it is, and I'll send you two ETH." And I'm like, why do you need to send them something to get something? No, no, no. If someone is asking you to send them money first,
Yeah.
don't do it. Like,
Don't
don't
do
even
it.
click on the link. No, don't, because a lot of people have fall for this, and
Yeah.
it surprises me. I'm like, someone is asking you to send them money first, don't do it. So we have to be very careful with that for sure.
Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How do you keep your crypto? Do you have any apps that you could recommend that you really work with that you feel are stable, safe, like digital
So
wallets?
yeah, so
Apps?
I mean, if people trade, they like when we trade, we have to keep the money in these changes to trade because you're gonna be making transactions. But once you're not gonna trade and you're just gonna keep your money like aside, then yeah, it's definitely very important to keep it safe. So if you keep it in an exchange and something happens to this exchange, you could lose your money.
Yeah.
Nowadays, like the biggest changes, like they have insurance. So if something happens, like normally people get at least part of their money back. But at the same time, like if you keep it in a wallet, then there are different kinds of wallets. There are wallets they're called hot wallets. They're online. So those can still be hacked because they're online. Like people, some like a hacker could access them somehow. I'm not saying it's easy, but it could be done. But then there's also cold wallets, and those are like USB drives. They're like physical devices. Once you put your crypto there, then I mean, it's not that you physically put your crypto because the crypto is on the blockchain, but you put your codes in the device, and then that you disconnect it from your computer. That is not connected to the internet, so no hacker can access it because there's no internet connection. That it's not connected to the internet. So that would be the safest. And the most common ones are Ledger and Trezor. So those are the two more common ones for physical devices. There are more, but those are the most common ones, Ledger and Trezor. And then when it comes to hot wallets online, like some of the most popular ones are, for example, Exodus, Trust Wallet. They're very common. And for this, make sure, please, that you're clicking the right links, because some people, they're so clever. They even do this. Like some people have bought the physical wallets. They buy them, they hack them, they sell them on Amazon. People buy them thinking that they're new. When they put the crypto there, it disappears. So when we buy these devices, we have to make sure that we buy them from them, like not from someone else on Amazon or whatever you want to buy. No, like this is very important. We have to buy them from Trezor, from Ledger, not from a person, because they can be hacked.
Okay. What are your predictions for the future of cryptocurrency over the next 5 years? What do you see happening?
Well, I mean, I've been very optimistic about this technology from the beginning, since I heard about it for the first time. And it's just been growing nonstop. And I think either we want it or not, is the future. Like this technology, the thing is, for example, with this traditional system, if you want to send money from Mexico to Japan, like it's going to take time.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pay fees that are high. But if you use cryptocurrency, for example, with Bitcoin, with the Lightning Network, or with XRP, or with Solana, like there are many different chains that you can use to make those transactions in a fraction of a second, for a fraction of just for like a cent. You can have it right away in your account for a cent. Like it's compared to the traditional banking system that is so slow and expensive. This is so fast that now even Visa, MasterCard, like they're using this technology, because why wouldn't they? It's a lot faster, it's a lot cheaper. So why would they not use it? It's a superior technology.
Because you're stating the positives around it, that it's fast, it's easy, it's all of that, but that means that there are going to be more regulatory changes coming down the line, right?
Yeah. And the thing is that
essentially it's cutting out the middleman. So now they're going to want to reinsert that at some point.
Yes. And that's the goal of cryptocurrency. It wants to get rid of the middleman, because, for example, Bitcoin, it was created when the crisis of 2008 happened, and so many people lost their life savings because banks just gambled with their money and lost it. And a lot of people lost everything. And that's why Bitcoin was created. It was created as a tool to say, we're not going to put our money into the hands of a third party that a lot of times is corrupted. A lot of those people never went to jail. Nothing happened with them. They're living their best lives, but they destroy the life savings of so many people. So that was the goal of Bitcoin. It was like, no, here you have a tool where you can manage your own money. There's nobody in between who can actually lose it, gamble it. Like but you have to learn so that you can do it safely. Because that's the thing. Like now our money, if we choose this technology, it's our responsibility to keep it safe, which means learn a little bit of how it works, keep it in a wallet. Don't trust someone who's sending you a, like weird link. Like, so we have to be responsible with it. But for me, like the advantages are amazing. This technology, the amazing thing about crypto is that it's decentralized. That's the whole point of this. It's all over the world. The networks are built by the people. Like we all can contribute to the chains of all the different projects. We together keep it safe. We together can check the transactions to make sure that nothing gets corrupted, that there's no corruption, because everybody is transparent. Like everything is there online. Like we can all check. And that's why this is so beautiful. We have, but we have to use the power for good, right? We have to be responsible and say like, yeah, let's do it. Let's not use this to manipulate, to control, to steal. Let's use it for good. And it is true that a lot of institutions, a lot of banks, a lot of governments are fighting back, because if we use this technology, then all this money that was like we were giving them, now we're not going to give it to them, because now we're going to keep it ourselves, right? So of course they're going to fight back. They're going to make it really hard. They have been making it really hard. In some places, it's so hard for people to have crypto because they don't want to lose the power that they had for so long. They have our financial power, it was in their hands. And that's why they don't want us to keep our own power, because if we have our own power, then they don't have it.
Right. I mean, El Salvador is really on the cutting edge there with their president and his stance towards cryptocurrency, and he's like really pushing it. And I think he didn't he say he's going to have a national crypto a coin for El Salvador? Like they're creating one right now, or do they already have one? I'm not quite sure.
Well, in El Salvador, Bitcoin is legal tender. Like
Yeah.
people can pay Bitcoin with the Lightning Network, which makes it really easy and really cheap. So what I remember back in the day when they made Bitcoin legal tender, they suggest, like everybody created a coin and they gave like a little bit of Bitcoin to everybody, all citizens. And I think back in the day it was a little bit polemic because they were saying like, but you're giving this to people. People don't know what they're doing, so maybe there should have been a little bit more education before, that happened. But at the same time, it's very innovative what they're doing. And
They're doing.
I mean, I don't know if they're creating a different coin. Like what I know is that a lot of governments are creating CBDCs, which is basically their version of cryptocurrency, but controlled by the government, basically by the central bank. But the thing is that with these coins, they're gonna be like, because everything is gonna be stored on the network, they can see everything. They're gonna be able to see absolutely everything you do with the money because it's completely transparent. And my thought is, if everything is ideal, if we live in a world where there's no corruption, that's great. Like like nothing does anything shady, great. Okay, let's be transparent. At the same time, what happens if you live in a dictatorship and you say something against the government on social media, and the government gets all your money, shuts your accounts, and you have no money to live? Like that could happen. So that's the danger with that technology, that if governments use it, they can misuse it. So we have to make sure that we are aware of this and we put pressure on the government so that they use it in a like transparent, not corrupted
Transparent
way.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you just brought up the topic with the government. And I mean, there are a lot of people also out there that are claiming that this whole cryptocurrency is actually a government experiment to get people to switch to the blockchain technology with it, which encompasses so much more than cryptocurrency. It's literally everything from shipping and handling and medical records and all of this. Like blockchain is going to be everywhere. And like you said, the records that are put in are not going to be erased, and it's going to be transparent, right? So what's your stance on this? Do you think this is just a ploy to get us to move to that out of our own free will and volition? Or is this really something that is coming up out of the need for humanity to move away from these old, stuck, stagnant systems?
Yeah, some people or a lot of people believe that it's been designed on purpose from the governments exactly for that reason, to so that they're like, oh, here's this tool that you can use to gain financial freedom. And then once we get there and we get excited, it's like, by the way, now you're going to have to use this cryptocurrency, which is the CBDC, and now you are going to be able to see absolutely everything you do. They're also designing the digital IDs where everything is going to be connected. That is very dangerous. And I'm like, you know what? We may never know the answer. We may never know that it was the government or not. In my opinion, and this is only my opinion, I don't think it was, because the thing is, this technology is too powerful. And honestly, maybe it was, but at the same time, they gave us this tool that can set us free from them. And I'm
Yeah.
like, would they really do that? Like, maybe they would. As I said, maybe they would, because now they're going to impose their CBDCs on us. And I'm like, okay, it could make sense. But at the same time, they put this tool in our hands. Do they really want to give us such a powerful tool? Like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't think they will want this, like, such a powerful tool in their hands, that in hands that is not their hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, it was someone who truly wanted freedom for the people. Like, they wanted financial freedom for people, and they were like, let's find a solution for all the corruption. And they created this tool, and now the governments, I think this time they were behind, and they were like, oh, we're losing our power, so actually let's use this technology to create our CBDCs to control people, like. So I think that's the way it happened. But again, that's just my opinion. But either way, it doesn't matter, because now we have this tool, and now we can choose. Do we want to use it for good? Let's use it so that everything is transparent, and like, we can use it now. Like, so we have to make sure that we actually fight to keep it. And that's the most important thing, that we
Right.
fight for freedom.
Mhm. Um, can you explain a little bit how blockchain technology is also used in other industries outside of finance and other sectors? Because we were just
It
in.
Yeah, like, it's been used in so many different areas, and I've mentioned a few of them, like NFTs, for example, real world assets, like how people are tokenizing assets, like apartments, for example, and anything could be tokenized. Like, they're even talking now that we are gonna be tokenized, like, and
Yeah.
like, everything, whatever you can think of. Basically, you're creating a digital something that represents that asset in the real world.
Mhm.
So that, I don't know where this is gonna go, but the applications could be like amazing, and also very dystopian. So we just have to make sure that we keep an eye on it, and make sure that we put pressure on whoever uses the technology to keep using it for good. And also, for example, with AI, a lot of crypto projects, they
Mhm.
are working with AI. A lot of crypto projects, they are working with storage, like they're creating more advanced storage projects where people can storage their data
Uh-huh.
and pay for with cryptocurrency to keep their data there. There's, for example, a network called Theta Network. They created a decentralized video platform, where kind of like YouTube, but it's decentralized. And this, by the way, I would like to mention. So all of this is the idea of the Web3, NFTs, blockchain technology. So up until now, like, we've been using the Web 2, which means that we create content, but for example, Facebook, if we put something on Facebook, Facebook owns the content. If we upload something to Instagram, Instagram owns the content. What happens with the Web3 technology? We own the content. So we basically get rid of the middleman. So a lot of these projects are doing really cool things, but they want to do it in a decentralized way, so that there's no middleman, nobody who can take advantage or manipulate or control. It's just us, our content, and we interact directly with whoever wants to see our content or buy from us or do whatever they want to do.
Mhm. Jen is asking, what's your favorite altcoin right now? And do you have any meme coins in your portfolio?
um, so my favorite coins, I'm gonna say some of them. There's too many to choose, to be honest. Like, but my favorite coins right now, they're connected with AI. And
Mm.
for example, Render Network, Near Protocol, R-Wave, those are GRT and FET. Like, those are my favorites. They have been my favorites, some of my favorites, because there are more, but some of them.
Okay.
When it comes to meme coins, I just want to say, nothing I say here is financial advice. This is just my opinion. But when it comes to meme coins, there's one called Gummy that I've been following. I think because when it comes to projects, when you want to invest, it's very important to know the community. If a project has a really good community behind it, and they're very active on social media, they're very engaged, and they're kind of like fanatics. then that coin could really explode. Like Gami could be one that could explode because the community is really big. That's an example. Another one that I like is Tucker. There it's very, this one is fun because they're creating cartoons about political issues. And it's not only a meme coin, like it's a meme coin, but they're actually creating all these videos on YouTube that they're actually fun to watch. And I've been watching them and I'm like, this is refreshing because normally meme coins, they don't really do much. But in this case, because it has a real use, and I've been watching the cartoons and I'm like, I could watch this, every day, and it's actually fun. I
Yeah.
actually like this one. I think it has a lot of potential. There's, the typical memes with like cats and dogs. Like there's a lot of those. But yeah, there are many, many, many.
Okay. What has been the most rewarding aspect for you on this journey? Like, what do you feel this has brought you besides your investments?
Mhm. I would say I always had a scarcity mentality. Like growing up, I always believed that making money was really hard.
Yeah.
That's what I saw in my life. Like that's what I felt around me. So for me, making money was this, it was extremely hard, and I always believed that. And it was very like I was just well, I was always a student. Like I got my master, then my PhD. So I was not focused on making money like for the longest time. So yeah, for me, the fact that I ran into crypto one day and I started seeing all these people, I was seeing how their mentality was so different. They were making money easily. They were, some of them were also losing it easily, which is not good. But at the same time, like it was it was so different. Like they had more of an abundance mentality in the sense that they believed that there was plenty. There was plenty of money, so they took more risks and they made more money. They made it fast. Sometimes it looks so easy. And I started looking at them and I'm like, if they can do it, then so can I. Like, I'm an intelligent person. Like, of course I can do it. Like, we can all do it. So it was very interesting for me to actually study. I started shifting my mentality from scarcity to abundance thanks to crypto because of just getting exposed to all these people
Mhm.
and just seeing life that it was possible. It
Right.
was amazing. And then trading, it's been amazing. Like trading is amazing in the sense that, as I said, like I'm not a risk investor. Like I'm not the kind of person who starts like trading with like 100x leverage and like starts risking all her account. Like I don't do that. I take like I do it in a very safe way and I risk small amounts of money. I do it like progressively, like I've always done it that way. And by doing this, that pushed me to actually take action because at the beginning for years when I started learning about crypto, but for years I only watch and learn. I'm a learner, like I'm a researcher, that's what I love to do, so I feel safe there, right? Like for years I was learning and I'm like, I have so much knowledge in me about crypto
Yeah.
and I'm seeing all these people making money and I'm not doing anything. I'm just watching and learning and I know so much. I'm like, why am I not acting and making money with this? So then I started trading with very small amounts. And at the beginning, it was so hard. Like it was because it's all about psychology. Like, and that's the way the market is very manipulated. So in order for you to trade well, you have to learn how to interpret the charts, but also you have to regulate your emotions and be able how to, you need to understand how they manipulate the market. And once you do, it's a lot easier to trade and make money because now you know the game they're playing, the big players, the ones who move the markets. So learning all of that and actually started to take in trades, that for me was like it was scary and it brought so many emotions of like fear and greed and like all my scarcity mentality was just like
Yeah.
jumping from wall to wall like what's happening. So it just made me take action. And in those moments, like at the beginning, like the emotions were very intense. But the more I did it, the more I controlled the emotions. And slowly, I like now I trade and I don't get those emotions, like maybe a little bit, but they're not so intense. Like I can control them, I can regulate them. So that means that now it's a lot safer for me to trade because, like my emotions are on check.
Right. That's awesome. Jen also asked if you can create your own meme coins, and it made me wonder, have you created your own coin? Can you do that? Did you do that?
I've thought about it, and I wanted to talk to Jen about it actually, because she's the one working with all the social media in our account. I we haven't done it, but this is definitely an option for the future, and I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking that it could be a good thing to have a coin for the Crypto Coven. Yeah, for sure, it can be done, and I've never done it before, but I know that we can do it. Like, and we're gonna look into that for sure. Like, I'm curious to do it. We have created our own NFTs that we have an NFT collection,
Yeah.
but the meme coin not yet. But honestly, I'm in for that because I think it could be fun, and it could be also, I love learning, and I
Mhm.
think creating a coin would be a very rewarding experience in the sense that it would be something good to know how to do.
How to do, yeah. Yeah. I have a couple more questions, like how do smart contracts work? What are those? And
Mhm.
why are they important?
Okay, so smart contracts are the Ethereum on the, as I said before, like Ethereum is the network where people are building all the apps.
Uh-huh.
And something that is very characteristic of Ethereum is the smart contracts. Like people have been building smart contracts on the Ethereum network.
Mhm.
So basically, when we have an agreement, like there has to be a condition. Like when this happens, then this happens, right? So basically, smart contracts are contracts where everything is done mathematically. Like imagine a program that says whenever this happens, there's a code in that says this happens. So basically, everything is done with the network. Like humans don't need to do anything, and that's why it's called trustless, because we don't have to trust a human that is gonna say like, okay, now let's do this. No, no, no. It's all done on its own by the, in the network.
Mhm.
So it's all calculated so that it happens exactly the way they programmed it. So we don't have to trust a human who may be corrupted or may choose to do something different. It's trustless. That's why they call it a trustless system.
Wow. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't
In my
know.
opinion, is good unless there's a problem with the coding. But so far, they've been using in a really, like, they've been very, very successful with like using it for many different purposes.
Where do they use it, for example?
When it comes to, I mean, I'm not an expert on smart contracts, but imagine a transaction that says, whenever this person meets these conditions, then we're gonna give them. Imagine someone is gonna ask for a loan or something. If this person meets these conditions, then let's give this person. I'm just thinking about this idea.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
give them this money. Like it could be anything that you can think of, right? Like if someone meets these conditions, then this happens. There's a consequence, right? And so it can be used for literally anything that you can think of.
Okay.
And it gets
Wow.
rid of the intermediary that can be maybe trustworthy, maybe not, like
All
it's
right.
just very mathematical, very,
Yeah.
it's programmed in the code.
Okay. And what is staking? Like, what is that?
Taking, So whenever you buy cryptocurrencies, you
Mhm.
cannot do this with all of them, but with a lot of them, you can stake them, which means that imagine when you put your money in the bank, sometimes you get an interest. It's extremely low in the banks. Like sometimes they give you 0.01%, 0.5 or 1%. It's
Right.
nothing because it's not even higher than inflation. Like inflation is a lot higher than that. So
Yeah.
if you put your money in the bank, you're losing money because even though you're getting 1%, if inflation is 5, 6, 7%, whatever it is,
Yeah.
3%, 4%, you're losing that much every year as you just keep your money in the bank.
Mhm.
However, if you have your money in crypto with a lot of projects, what they do is it's the same idea. So basically, you put it there and they give you that percentage back.
Right.
However, in crypto, the percentage are a lot higher. Like I've seen percentages that are higher than 100%. Like
Wow.
sometimes it's like 5%, 10%, 50%. Like I've seen really high percentages. However, people have to be careful because sometimes when it's too high, it's like, okay, is this actually sustainable?
Yeah.
Like we have to think
That
about,
was my next question.
yeah. So the thing is that in crypto, like 10, 20% is very normal. And a lot of the really solid projects, they do that, like 15%, 25, like that's very common in crypto.
Mhm.
Whenever you go over, like like to the high numbers, I'm like, okay, so be careful. And the good thing about crypto though is that you can stake your coins. Imagine that you buy a Bitcoin now, or Ethereum, or imagine you buy Ethereum and you stake your Ethereum, and Ethereum is now 3,000 whatever, $3,000, let's say, to talk about a round number. And you stake your Ethereum, and then in a year, Ethereum, you get that percentage back. But at the same time, Ethereum is not $3,000. Imagine that is 4,000. You not only have more Ethereum, but Ethereum is more expensive. So you're gaining in the two different ways, right? Like it's not only one. Like because with the fiat currencies, like dollar, euro, peso, whatever, you can make that percentage that they're giving you back, but the coin always stays the same. And actually, over time, is the value because they keep printing and printing and printing money. So there's more money in the market, the coin loses value. So with crypto, not only that, but a lot of coins are not inflationary, but they're deflationary, which means that there's a certain amount of coins that they're going to be released. There's no more. We cannot create more Bitcoin after the last Bitcoin is created. So basically, you have that set amount of Bitcoin. There's more demand because more people want Bitcoin. More and more and more people and more people are going to want Bitcoin because it's getting so much more popular. If we have the same amount of Bitcoin, but more people want it, then the price is gonna go up. So you're making money because of that. You're making money if you're staking. There are different ways in which you can make money at the same time with crypto, which is amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for explaining it in detail. You know, like it's thank you for taking the time for this interview too, because I know you're pretty yo. So, oh, someone else, Radically Human says, what steps do you take to keep users' assets and data safe? And how do you deal with security issues if or when they come up? Yeah, there's that. Totally, there's that.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, it's funny because this morning we had our Instagram account hacked. Now that you say that, in crypto, there's so many people who are gonna try to like scam you through like fake links, things like that, as I said, and also like hack your account. We have to be very careful. What I do is, first of all, use a secure email, for example, like to create your account. What they recommend is ideally you should use a different email for every account that you create on crypto.
Okay.
Use
I guess hide my email works great for that.
which one?
Hide my email or something that uses a kind of a different that all funnels into one box.
I'm not familiar with that. But
Hide my email is like on Apple on your phone or wherever on Apple, and it creates a what do you call it? A front email. So it gives you a fake email address, but that email address funnels to your actual email address.
okay, interesting. Okay. I know what you mean now. Yeah. Well, I don't do that,
Proton
but
has it
like
too. Yeah.
I was about to say, Proton is a really good idea because it's an encrypted email service. So what I would suggest is using something like Proton because it's encrypted, it's more secure. If you have capacity, like create an email for every account that you have. Also use two-factor authenticator at the same time. And also when you definitely use secure passwords, because if you just use something that is easy to guess, then that's not good. You have to use long passwords that have capital letters, numbers, like all of it combined. At the same time, when you have an account, for example, in an exchange, you can create a password, a passcode, and every time you're gonna do a transaction, they're gonna ask you for the passcode. Like that's another layer. Like the more layers you have, the harder it's gonna be for people to hack you. And at the beginning, it can get a little bit overwhelming, but eventually, you're gonna get used to it, and it's gonna be something that is gonna become natural. And to be honest, when it comes to the safety of your money and your freedom, your financial freedom, it's worth it. I mean, it is worth it to be safe.
Yeah. Man, okay. And the last question I have is, how do you see the relationship between traditional financial systems and cryptocurrencies evolving? Do you think that the system as it is going to continue next to cryptocurrency, or is it going to?
That's an excellent question. I would love to know the answer. My opinion is that it's gonna be a rocky road because the thing is that the traditional financial systems, they're fighting back, and they're gonna keep fighting back because they don't want to lose their power. They have kept the power, and they have made so much money out of the back of like people like you and I, like giving them part of our money, right? So whenever we say like, hey, no, I'm not gonna give you my money anymore, like I'm gonna keep it myself and I'm gonna make it grow without your hands touching it, they're gonna be like, no, no, no. But the thing is, they have so much power, then they're also pressuring regulators, governments. So it's definitely a war that is happening right now, and they're in a lot of governments. They're trying to push a lot of regulations. So I mean, as citizens, it's our responsibility to make sure that we keep an eye and be like, okay, so certain regulations can be good for everybody, but like we cannot let them abuse their power and like be, like corrupt the system. Like I mean, the system is already very corrupted. So I mean, it's a matter of just like do our duty as citizens and just demand a just system, like a fair system.
Yeah,
So otherwise, they're gonna do whatever they
whatever.
want to do, and yeah, it's a
Yeah.
responsibility to also like like tell them, hey, like we're watching and we want a fair system, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, but crypto is not going anywhere, and there are beautiful people in the community who are fighting to keep our freedom. And I think both systems can, like they may coexist at least until a certain point. I think with the CBDCs, like I think that's where the governments are going. Like they wanna just make everybody use CBDCs so that they can control every transaction. So there's a big chance that that's going to be a future where CBDCs are the money that we have to use on a regular day to do transactions inside the system. But at the same time, if crypto is there at the same time, we could keep both and be like, okay, like there's regulations, but there's also freedom, and let's keep an eye so that you know, there's less corruption.
Yeah. Okay. Nayara, thanks so much. You also offer courses, right? And teaching people on how to
Mhm.
dive into this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, our next course is gonna start actually next week, actually. So
Okay.
if anybody is interested, yeah, they can let me know. They can message me. It's gonna be online. We're gonna meet 2 times a week, and we'll meet for 3 months. It's gonna be 12 weeks. Because the thing is that I want to teach people from the beginning. Like if beginners, they can learn from the beginning, and by the end of it, they will know how to. They will be traders.
Yeah.
So and they will learn. They will do a lot of practice, and will practice with a simulator, because that's the good thing about some of the exchanges that we use, that they have simulators so that people can practice with fake money
Hmm.
and start making mistakes with that fake money. And
Right.
then we'll start with like very small amounts of money so that people can start taking like control risks, like manage learn how to have a good risk management strategy.
Hmm.
And yeah, like it's gonna be a lot of practice, like it's a lot of conversation. Like I want everybody to feel comfortable and learn together and empower each other and learn from our mistakes, because we all make mistakes. Even the
Yeah.
best traders that you can find, they lose money. Like we all do. Like like but it's very interesting. You learn so much about yourself
Right.
when you trade, about your emotions, your psychology. Like it's fascinating.
Yay. Yeah, I can definitely say that it's for sure. I feel like it's something that everybody has to now start stepping into. Like we don't have the luxury to say, oh, it's tech. Like the older generation says about computers, like, I don't want to learn it. It's too difficult. It's too stressed. I feel like we don't have the luxury of saying that. We have to learn this because this is what's coming next. I feel that.
Yeah,
And
it is.
I mean, I see it here, like it's in my banking app. I can go buy crypto through my banking app if I wanted to,
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like It's there. They're already normalizing it. There are already
Mhm.
regulations around how much cash people can send to, can
Mhm.
have literally how much they can pay in cash. It's already
Mhm.
regulated over a certain amount. You can't, it has to go through banks. So
Yeah,
I feel like this is a great opportunity that you're offering to people to really learn it solidly from the ground up and minimize their mistakes because they're learning in a group, they're
yeah.
learning with others that have walked that path already that can,
Mhm.
point them in certain directions. I think it's a
Yeah,
fantastic idea. And
yeah, thank you.
yeah,
And that's the thing for me, it's crypto is not just about making money. Like
yeah,
for me, it's about freedom. Like honestly, it's about using this technology that someone created so that we can fight for our freedom. And either we like it or not, we live in a world that is ruled by money. So we have to accept that reality unless we want to live in a cave in the mountains, like we can, or like in a community that just changes
yes,
everything. We
yeah,
live in a world where money is everywhere we need it.
yeah,
And that's the thing, like we have certain options, and now it's a matter of, are you going to use this tool that was literally designed to give you freedom, or are you going to just stay stuck in a system that we have seen time and again, that is doesn't have our best interest in mind, you know
yeah,
either we change that system, or we use this one, or we do both, right?
yeah,
But like, I
yeah,
mean, for me it's a matter of, we need to fight for our freedom. Like
yeah,
nobody's gonna just give it to us. Like unfortunately, like that's the way it should be. We should just all have freedom. But
yeah.
in this world, we sometimes have to fight for it. And for me, everybody should learn about crypto, because not only you're gonna learn about how to like be financially free, but you're gonna learn about how the system works, how you've been manipulated, because like that's also very important for me. Like people need to know these things, and they
Mhm,
need to learn how the system works, how, like, if they learn about how crypto works, they can be more aware about how the whole system works. And that's
mhm.
what I love also, because I've learned so much about the traditional financial system by learning about crypto.
Right. And I feel like it's part of the awakening and ascension process of humanity too, because we're moving away from big daddy or big mommy state, who's going to take care of us and do everything. And we're moving into a more autonomous way of seeing the world, that we do have powers, that we do
Yeah.
have, it's the power is returning to us through this option.
Well, to me, honestly, the power is always in us. Like the
Yeah,
power is never out there. Like we have it inside. It's a matter of, are we actually gonna say like, okay, look, it's here. Like are we gonna look inside and see like, okay, it's here now. Let's use it, right? Because the way I see it, like everybody has power in them. Like I don't think they take the power away from us. I see it as they repress the power, and it's like hidden in a corner inside of us, and a lot of people don't even realize that they have it. So now it's a matter of, no, actually, let's look inside of us, find that box, open it, and now let's use that power to become independent, autonomous, free, right?
awesome. When's the start date again of your course?
The 27th. Well, we're gonna start the week of 27th, but there's still a couple of people who have to confirm if they're gonna be there or not. So at the end of next week, we'll decide when the exact date for the classes will be. But it will start the week of the 27th.
Okay, awesome. And I love it. I love it. I love how you combine spirituality and cryptocurrency and the witchy coven and
Yeah,
I love
me
it.
too.
Love
Fun.
it.
It's fun. Yeah.
And a safe space for women to just connect and to learn about this. Nayara, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I love this. I love the information that you shared, and I'm very, very, very appreciative. So I'll have
Thank you
you. I
so
hope
much.
you come back.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I love talking about crypto. I love teaching, helping other people how to learn, because I mean, you've heard me, like the passion that I have, like this is very important. Like I want to help people find this freedom.
Yeah.
So as many times as you want, I'll be happy to have a
Thank
conversation.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. And thank you for watching. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to email me. You'll find Naiara's contact information in the description box below this video, to her Facebook, to her Instagram, to her website as well, where you can register for the course or simply contact her for more info or questions that you might have. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.